Good evening. Maybe it's the morning or afternoon in your time zone. Chapter 26 of Two Blue Vortex is a tale of bargains, betrayals, and the dangerous games people play when they think they can outwit destiny. Every alliance carries a price. Some pacts are sealed with a handshake, others with something far more costly. Young Boruto has made such a deal, one with a demon named Momoshiki, an ally who cannot be trusted, and a parasite who will never be satisfied. Elsewhere, the pieces move in silence. Inojin aligned with Boruto for the sake of family. Shikamaru's reign as Hokage begins to buckle under pressure, and Komaharu's loyalty is questioned. The Shinju evolve like watchful predators, probing humanity's softest weakness: love. Finally, there are those girls. Sarada and Sumire, once deep undercover against Ida's charm, now find themselves in a suspense worthy of a cinematic Alfred Hitchcock movie. Daemon advances with a grip filled with merciless intent. One might say, this is the calm before the storm. In this story, calm is never safe, and storms rarely pass without tragedy. Inojin arrives not with steel or scrolls, but with something disarmingly ordinary: a jar of honey. The Magna panel lingers on Himawari's smile, filled with warmth that someone remembered what she loves most. This is a quiet reminder that even in a world shadowed by monsters, kindness can still have its sweet touch. Yet in the style of Alfred Hitchcock, the sweetness can hide what's beneath the surface and cue a future rising action. For now, this gift becomes a quiet MacGuffin, an object that signals a narrative undercurrent. Beneath the calm surface, tension tightens. On his way home, Inojin encounters a toad, the unmistakable calling card of the elusive Kajin Koji. The conversation begins innocently enough, circling his feelings for Himawari, but in suspense. Innocence is rarely what it seems. His answer becomes the passcode to a greater purpose, and in an instant, he is reverse summoned into Koji's hideout. There, the stakes shift. A favor is asked of him, one that may decide the fate of the Shinobi world. Inojin is now the newest ally, a quiet addition to Boruto's side in this shadow war. Yet every ally in a Hitchcock story carries a question: is he a savior or a pawn? Inojin's loyalties begin to bend, his shadow already stretching towards Boruto and Kajin Koji. Don't take this as a threat, but this place has no physical exit, so you can't leave on your own. Boruto calmly advises with his stoic gaze, "Don't worry though. Once we finish talking, I'll send you back." What appears as a simple warning is anything but. It is the first fracture in allegiance, a small, almost invisible crack that, in thrillers, always spreads until it swallows everything. Elsewhere, the Shinju convene at their roundtable discussion. Jura sheds a tear when he reads a novel that tells of a glimpse of love. He recalls the feelings Matsuri once held from Komaharu. He is a villain of extraordinary precision that studies the human heart as though it were a specimen on an exam table. Momoshi treats sentiment like a defective organ, irrelevant. Lust flickers briefly in his gaze at a magazine image, but desires control incarnate. His thoughts lock onto Ida, not to admire, but to dominate. Bug was dominated by her and Daemon. This is karma in action. What goes around often returns. The Shinju are evolving. Like a Hitchcock horror, the truly terrifying creature is not the one that strikes blindly, but the one that observes, learns, and wields knowledge as a weapon. Back in Konoha, the Hidden Leaf, pressure builds like a burning teapot. In that same metaphorical kitchen, Shikamaru will approach the chopping block as his seat of the interim Hokage will be cooked. Through Inojin's transmission, Koji whispers warnings. At the same time, Kobu, the daimyo's attendant, casts seeds of doubt, suggesting Boruto's escape was not failure but a conspiracy in abetting his evasion. Komaharu defends his mentor, but he will now face the same chopping block where he'll be cooked in the same batch. As the legendary master of suspense Alfred Hitchcock would remind us, loyalty is a rope stretched thin, and ropes always fray under too much weight. Every Hokage from past to present have always known that danger is rarely loud. It creeps along shadowy corridors, in whispers, and in predatory eyes that linger a fraction too long. Shikamaru knows one misstep could turn the political calm into a storm that no strategy can weather. The stress is worth a cigarette break and the intimate temptation to resign his position altogether. However, he is needed more than ever before for the next incoming attack. A three-way current flows. They speak without unnecessary sound, and their thoughts bridge a distance of understanding. No kunai and no jutsus, only words, attitudes, and reactions as sharp as blades. Koji delivers his warning to Shikamaru. Shinju Mamushi is coming, and his target is Ida. The danger is imminent. He reveals off-screen what he is and how to deal with them. In thrillers, the most dangerous confrontations are rarely visible. They take place in whispers, in glances, and the spaces between dead air. The stakes are immeasurably higher than even previous chapters. In another corner of this web, Sarada and Sumire are in a rude awakening for what's to come. They've been immune to Ida's charm before the start of Two Blue Vortex. It's not because they lack something, but because they possess something stronger: free will, authentic conviction, and love. Their conversation focuses on Boruto, not as the fugitive nor the hero, but as a young lord who still matters to them. Here lies the true suspense. Ida caught on for a while that these girls were immune to her enchantment. She reveals to them that, in her presence, she should be the only focus in this room, not Boruto. Daemon's eyes glare with a certain death before his feet can make a step. The covert innocence has been compromised. Sarada and Sumire are in danger. Thrillers of any cinema or novel will never end in comfort because it always cuts to black when the heart races with fear. The fragile comfort shatters in an instant. Daemon strikes faster than Sarada's Sharingan can track, and his hand seizes with merciless sudden grip. It is not merely an attack, it is a statement. Innocence twisted into inevitability, and the power wrapped in cold control. Every panel becomes a heartbeat held too long. The audience or reader feels the invisible knife, the silent threat looming over those who dare to hope. Alfred Hitchcock reminds us that fear is the most potent when the danger is unseen until it strikes. Sarada and Sumire were maybe overconfident in their immunity. Thus, they are reminded that control is never absolute, and every advantage has a hidden cost. The stage is set with razor-sharp stakes, and this cinematic curtain falls. This leaves the viewer or reader suspended in dreaded anticipation. To be continued.
Nothing.
Now in a special segment that I call Anbu Technical Briefing, I'll go into further depth about Greek tragedy in Boruto. Greek tragedy is an ancient storytelling form from Greece where the hero faces forces beyond their control, fate, the gods, or their own choices. The hero is skilled, brave, and determined, but even a single flaw or decision can lead to their downfall. The purpose isn't simply defeat, it is to make the audience feel deeply. Pity for the hero, fear that the same fate could happen to anyone. This emotional release is called catharsis. It leaves the audience reflecting on life's choices and consequences. Catharsis occurs when strong emotions, such as fear, pity, and sadness, build then release as the hero suffers. The goal is more than entertainment, it is engagement of the mind and heart, a reminder that courage and error are inseparable. In Boruto, fate takes form. Momoshiki is not just an enemy, he is the shadow of destiny itself. He tempts Boruto with power, forcing choices that blur the line between salvation and ruin. Whether he aids or betrays, his presence ensures the hero's struggle is never clean, never cost-free. Key point: Momoshiki is the embodiment of fate in Boruto's Greek tragedy, an unavoidable test that may crown Boruto's resolve or seal his downfall. So for the path ahead, the pondering questions for future chapters. How far will Boruto's pact with Momoshiki stretch before exacts its costs? Will Inojin's loyalty hold under growing pressures, or fracture under unseen weight? Can Shikamaru maintain leadership in a world of political suspicion and silent wars? How will the Shinju evolve further? And what is their ultimate objective with Ida? Will Sarada and Sumire maintain their power position, or will new forces challenge their will? What is the true price of calm before the storm, and who will pay it first? Each answer foreshadowed yet uncertain, carrying the tension of both Greek tragedy and Hitchcock suspense. If Alfred Hitchcock were alive, then he might remind us that in this story, the calm is never safe, and the storm is rarely merciful. Boruto walks a path where alliances are riddled with invisible traps, loyalty is tested beyond measure, and every choice can tip the scales towards catastrophe. Sarada and Sumire are caught in their own suspenseful loop now that their power position has been compromised. Shikamaru and Komaharu are on the chopping block, ready to be cooked into oblivion pending investigation on Boruto's escape. The pieces are moving, silently, invisibly, across both hearts and minds. Allies become instruments. Enemies study your weaknesses, and the line between salvation and ruin blurs. As we close this chapter, remember, In Boruto's world, courage alone cannot save you. Insight, calculation, and the understanding of consequence are what determines who survives the storm. We will not ask whether tragedy arrives, but which mask it chooses to wear. Until next time, same handsome Hokage, same nerdy review, no jutsu.